Welcome to season 2 of the Bigger Than You podcast, your go-to weekly podcast that blends energetics and mindset to help you do whatever it takes to bring your vision to life, whilst having fun on the way. I'm Jenna Holloway, your host and multi-award-winning intuitive hypnotherapist and mindset coach. My purpose is to help mission-led business owners and visionaries who want to inspire change by leading the way in a space that otherwise may feel unnerving and too difficult. This is Bigger Than You. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me again, everybody. We have an amazing guest on today. I'm really excited to share with you Camille. Camille Plews is a business mentor and freedom marketing strategist. And her background was in corporate sales and marketing for various service-based industries for 15 years before starting her online business 10 years ago. She's got 21 years of sales and marketing experience and has won sales awards both in the travel industry and in corporate recruitment. Camille also has a #1 podcast and has sold over 10,000 courses worldwide. And her podcast is called the Fast, Messy Action Business Podcast. Welcome, Camille.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited. We were talking about some really good things just before we hit record, and I was like, hold on. Let's save this conversation. So I'm really excited as to what we're going to be sharing and talking about today on the podcast. And it was quite open, wasn't it? When we first started this conversation this morning, I was like, what do you want to talk about? And you were like, right, there's this one thing that you're seeing that's a real problem at the moment. So shall we start there?
Absolutely. The biggest issue that I'm seeing right now in this online coaching and course creation industry, burnout. And it's because of people constantly live launching new offers month after month after month. And if you've got a lot of commitments outside of running this business, you're not going to be able to keep doing that in the long term. It's not sustainable. You will burn out. But there are a lot of business models out there and a lot of coaches that will tell you, just keep doing this, keep launching new offers, and then you'll make more and more money. But it's not sustainable. You're better off focusing on 1 or 2 of your main offers, have some passive income as well on the background, but just focus on them and have systems in place that means that you can enroll clients consistently. And it'll just mean that you won't burn out. This is a huge thing that I'm seeing right now. People giving up because of burnout.
Yeah. It's like you can create success, but at what cost?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm seeing it too, like this micro offer thing. And it makes sense, like on the surface of it. If you look at it from a perspective of business owners being robots and not having physical and mental health to look after, fine. It makes sense to break your big offer down into a micro offer so that people can experience you and then want to work with you more. But if you are consistently doing that, it takes a lot of energy, doesn't it? To show up and launch something. And if you are launching a micro offer in the hope that those people who join that will then join your big offer, then look at the ROI on that. And like I said, it's fine if you're a robot doing this, but you're not. And if your why is to change the world and make a big impact and of course make a lot of money doing it, then you've got to create your business. You've got to grow your business with you at the heart of it. If what you're doing now is not sustainable in the long run, why the fuck are you doing it?
Exactly that.
You're not giving your power away. I'm really passionate about it too. And stop giving your power away to other coaches who are saying that this is the way. And no, just trust yourself.
Yes. Trust yourself. And that's the thing as well. And there's certain ways of doing certain offers. I'm a fan of mini offers. I always have been. And it's how I bring people into my world. But there's a way of doing it. You can create mini offers. You can create it as a passive income product. You don't have to deliver it live. And the way that I teach how to do it is to create it first, and then have leads and sales on autopilot to that mini offer. And then people are more likely to come into your bigger offer. You don't have to deliver everything live. And I think that this is why people are burning out. They're doing live launches month after month after month of these micro offers and creating new micro offers month after month and also delivering it live. And if you've got kids like we do, if you've got a lot of commitments, maybe you are working in a job as well, and this is starting off as a side hustle until you can get enough clients. If you've got commitments outside of this, then you're going to burn out very quickly if you're doing it in that way.
Yeah. So important, isn't it? And I was having this, it's like we're meant to be having this conversation because I was thinking about just random thoughts this morning as I was getting ready. And if we look elsewhere, if we give our power away and think, oh, I'm not doing it. Basically, I was putting myself in my ideal client's shoes and thinking like, right, what do they need to hear from me today? And it's like, you're comparing yourself and not feeling like what you're doing is enough because people around you are doing something that you're not doing. But then you're literally giving your power away to them and comparing yourself to them when you are not them. Everybody is different. And like you say, if you've got a family, then it's going to be different to those people who don't, or who have older kids, for example. It's like, you've got to trust yourself. Yeah, you've got to trust yourself to create the business around your life that works for you so it's sustainable. Like, definitely. Unless we have that sort of inner programming of utter safety, you're going to feel like your business is like, you're going to feel in a rush in your business. Like, I've got to create this wild success now, or it's not going to happen. Like, no.
This is exactly what I was like, even just a couple of years ago. But it's only really been the last year that everything's been a lot easier. Income's grown, but it's been easier at the same time. And it's only because, and it sounds so cliche, I've been doing a lot of the inner work. So I've been working with mostly coaches over the last year to help with things like inner childhood healing, inner childhood wounds, because I was one of these people who was going for the next strategy, go, 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 go. And it was like I was going 100 miles an hour, but still, you know, taking my kids to school, picking them up, still being a present parent. But those hours between, you know, when the kids were at school, I was just go, 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 go. Where now it's like, okay, it's not like that now. I've got a lot more ease. I've got a lot more time and everything flows a lot better. But then my income's still growing. I know it sounds so cliche, but a lot of it has been doing that inner work and just being more intentional with the time that I've got.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like it gets to be easy essentially what Camille was saying, like, it's literally the work that I do, Camille. It's like, heal those childhood wounds, because unless you do that, you are showing up in the world as this wounded child who formed limiting beliefs back many, many years ago, in situations where you don't even necessarily consciously remember, but in those moments you decided that you weren't good enough or you weren't worthy. Perhaps you were with your mum who was stressed out and you were whining because you wanted the thing at the checkout, and mum said no because mum wanted to create boundaries where you understand, like, you don't get, I literally had this experience. My mum was like, no, when we go to the supermarket, that doesn't mean you automatically get a present or something. No, you wait for Christmas, you wait for birthdays. That's installing good values and good beliefs, right? That's great. But my childhood brain in those moments took that to mean something that I misunderstood it, basically, you know. So I decided that I wasn't worthy because my mum wasn't buying me what I wanted, you know, or whatever it is. Like, it's literally like tiny little mundane experiences like that we have that are normal. But because we have an immature brain at that time, we're absorbing those experiences and making them mean something about us, which then forms a limiting belief. And that limiting belief gets reinforced because we are creating external experiences, because our brain is looking for that to reinforce the belief that we already hold. And this stays a thing inside the subconscious mind all the way to adulthood. And then it's there when we start to come to try and, you know, run our own business and create success. We've got these pesky little limiting beliefs inside our subconscious mind, which is basically just inner child wounds that need to be healed. Oh, and they'll be there unless you do the healing. So
I mean, I had a thing, and it was just a small thing that a teacher said to me in primary school. And I mean, they do it in my kids' school now, which I'm furious about. And I'm constantly saying to my kids, don't listen to what the teachers are saying. That really doesn't matter. They still do it now, and I'm really quite angry about it. But basically, you get what's called a pen license. So when you're a certain age at school, when you're like 10, if your writing's good enough or neat enough to the teacher's standards, you're allowed to write with a pen. If not, you have to continue writing with a pencil. And Freddie came home, here's my 10-year-old son. He came home, it was about 2 weeks ago. It was just before the half term. And he said to me, Mum, I still have to write with a pencil. And a lot of other kids are writing with a pen. I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what happened when I was a child, similar age. So I remember this very clearly. I was sitting around a desk. There was around 3 or 4 other girls around this desk. And I was the only one that had to keep writing with a pencil because my writing wasn't neat enough. And I would try so hard. I'd go back to the teacher, queuing up again for her to check my work and for her to then say, no, it's scruffy, go sit down, rub it out, do it again. And that is what imprinted in my mind, and that I told myself when I was older, things like, For example, I was trying to write an ebook and I was just like, I can't do this. I know I'm not a writer. I'm rubbish at writing. Why am I even trying to do this? I'm not a writer. And I would constantly say this over and over again because that's what I believed. Yeah. And then it wasn't until I was working with my coach, it was about 2 years ago, said to me, but you're so great at creating content. You get clients from your content. Why do you tell yourself you're not a writer? I'm like, oh, but content's different. She's like, no, it's not. It's still writing. I'm like, oh, it's just this weird belief that you put into your head and you say to yourself, oh, I can't do that because, when really you can. It's just something silly that's happened when you were a child that's made that imprint into your mind that makes you think that you can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Another example I had last week of one of my clients who, she's really successful in her business. She created a lot of success, but she noticed a pattern in her life. And this is as you're listening, guys, what you need to do is you need to spot the patterns in your life. Where are things showing up are patterns, because those patterns are as a result, like what you're experiencing in your life and your business is as a result of the programming in your subconscious mind. You're creating that reality because of what your brain is filtering. You're in a belief system. So my client, she said, I am noticing that anything that I'm outsourcing in my business is getting done, but there's delays, or like the quality is a bit shoddy. And that doesn't have to be the case. Like from me, my perspective, my team, that is not the case at all. So that outer experience, you notice that pattern, and that was down to a program. So we were like, right, let's go back, let's find that. And what you do is you check into the feeling, like how does it make you feel? Okay, it made her feel frustrated. And the feeling is important because all of our memories are encoded with an emotion. And that particular emotion, our subconscious mind links all of the memories when we felt that emotion. And so we can, like this modality, we find that original belief. And she was 5 years old, and her dad, who was a business owner, was really stressy and just saying basically like, just annoyed that, if you can't do something, if somebody doesn't do something to your standards, you just got to do it in yourself in life. Basically, a bit stressed, spouting off. And my client, who was 5 at the time, took that in and formed the belief that, well, if you want something doing, you got to do it yourself. That's literally the words her dad said. So that, of course, she took that to be gospel. And so, she's running this belief system now. She's creating massive success. And she is outsourcing things because that makes her life easier and everything. But the quality of what she's getting back, or the time delays, or just the frustration, is as a result of that inner belief system where she believes that other people do shoddy work or other people let you down. Those
really,
kind of things.
It's not, yeah.
Yeah, it's not at all. So, it's fascinating. Have you got any other examples of where, like, since doing this work, it's completely shifted things for you?
Absolutely. So there's a few examples of when I was a child, things that came up that I didn't even know were there. Certain things that came up. Actually, I was hosting a retreat last month in Mallorca, and something came up and I was crying my eyes out for about an hour. Didn't even think it was a thing. Like, this is the thing. So we had somebody there and she was doing very, very similar to what you said, making you tune in with feelings. And she was taking us back to a time. She took us all into a bit of a deep meditation, taking us back to a time where you may have felt it was the not good enoughness, if you like. It was the feelings associated with that. And straight away, what came up for me, and me feeling like second best, if you like, was that I had 6 boyfriends in a row that cheated on me. And some of them, were like, it's a big mistake, I want you back and all this, but that didn't matter. What was in my mind was that I'd been cheated on 6 times in a row. 6 times in a row. So that always made me feel second best, but I didn't even know it was there. I didn't even know that was a thing. And it was the coach who then said, that has made you feel second best. And then straight away, I started crying and crying, and I couldn't stop crying. I thought, well, my husband, who I'm with now, has not been like that. But this stems back from when I was like 16, 17 years old. But it was still obviously there somewhere. The energy was still there. And it made me feel like, oh my gosh. So then we did a lot of healing around that. And some things you don't even know that are there until 100%. Somebody says to you, right, let's dig into this emotion. Let's dig into this feeling. And then there was another time. So when I was 6.5, almost 7 years old, my brother died of a brain tumor. And I remember at the time, obviously it was just massive upheaval in the family, massive turmoil, massive grief and everything. But I didn't ever think that, like, going into adulthood, that it kind of, I didn't ever think that it would affect my adulthood or anything like that. I just, at the time, dealt with it, right? You know what? Get on with life, that kind of thing. There's nothing you can do about it and all of that. But it obviously did affect me because it came up later on in my life that there were certain things that would come through. Like I was scared of losing people. I was scared of, something happening. I was scared of something going wrong. And it came through with my kids and everything. I was scared of, I was being too protective as a mother because I was scared of something happening with them. And all of these things were coming up. And it's only been since doing a lot of this inner work, but it's only been in the last 2 years that I've been doing it. And I really wish that I'd have been doing this work sooner, because I think it would have really affected everything in my life, my business, the way that I show up as a mum, just everything. Yeah. But you know what? I've been doing it now and it's helping now, but I really wish I'd done all of this work sooner.
So take that, guys, as you're listening. Take it. We really do not prioritize it enough. Like in the space, it's just not talked about. Everybody is just like strategy.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you want to get to the point where you're on the state of burnout when you realize this, or do you want to just value this and prioritize this first? Because can I ask you, like, so you've done this work, how has it changed your life and your business? What's different now as a result of that?
Yeah. So I kind of got to this ceiling. So in my business, it was about 2 years ago, I got into like the multiple six figures, but like the early multiple six figures in my business. And I was stuck there and I couldn't get past that. And no matter how much strategy I threw at it, different things that I was doing, different offers, different, like whatever it was, I was still stuck at this same income level. And I wasn't able to get past it. And then it wasn't until working with somebody who could like see, she was like, right, you're stopping yourself. You've got these ideas, you've got these, you're holding yourself back. And there were certain other things, such as like my throat chakra was blocked because my heart chakra, and all of these different things and different energies that were locked in my body, if you like. But I was just trying to throw so much strategy at it, thinking, well, if all these others can do it, so can I. Strategy. But it's not just about the strategy. And I'm a very strategic person, as you know. I'm all about the strategy. But it's only been in the last couple of years that I'm like, well, actually, there's more to it than that. And since doing all of this work, my business has grown. So it's grown all to the higher multi-six figures now, and it's really grown. But I feel like it hasn't taken as much out of me. I'm not constantly doing anymore. I'm just like, oh, things are just flowing now. Things are easier. I'm just kind of in this like flowy state, and things are happening a lot easier. This is what I want to say. There's probably a better word to describe this, but like even with team members now, it's a lot easier to work with the people that I'm working with. So I hired a team of people. It was about 1.5 years ago. I hired quickly because I wanted to grow massively. And I was like, right, this is what I need to do. I need to outsource all of this stuff, which is a great way of doing it, outsourcing, but maybe do it a bit slower than what I did it. I hired altogether, it was like 6 people in a very short space of time. And a lot of those team members didn't work out. And the way that I'd have done it differently was to hire out slowly, like more slowly, and just really lean into the person as opposed to what they can do, and hiring people based off of different energies as well, because that really, really does matter. Having people who are like an energetic match to you, who are just like you, that you can work with, that it just works out so much better. So my team now is a very small team. There's only 3 of us, but it works amazingly well. And the energy, the flow, everything, the way that things are delivered, and just everything's just so much easier.
Yeah, I completely agree. Totally. Like the feelings matter. So you want to have somebody that, if they're in your team, you want them to be there for the long game, right? So the energy matters. You want to have an energetic match so that it feels like you are on the same page and there's just no resistance being created. And yeah, it just feels so much easier. That's really cool to hear. Okay, so interesting question. Now that you're like seeing things this way, it gets to be so much easier. Like you're literally like, I'm really, really grateful this conversation is going this way, because you've done the transformation of exactly what I share. Like you can create massive success from a place of push, and eventually you will hit that upper limit. Like it was subconsciously programmed to not go any further because your subconscious didn't feel safe to create more.
Yes.
And no matter what strategy you threw at it, and then you turn to the inner work, you created that safety, you removed those upper limits because it felt safe. And now you've gone through that and you're creating it with so much more ease and flow. That's amazing. You are literally like the life version of, my work. So given that you're at this place now where you're experiencing growth with far more ease and flow, has it changed what you're doing in your business in terms of the strategies? Or are you doing the same strategies but getting better results with more ease?
Well, I did step away a little bit more from doing a lot of the live stuff. So I was doing a lot more live stuff beforehand. I was doing lots of things like live challenges, live masterclasses, live everything. And I've stepped away more from doing the live stuff. And I have a lot of like better but pre-recorded stuff that goes out instead. And then I've got automations and systems and things like that in place that mean that the leads and sales come in automatically. And it actually works out better because I'm not stressed. I mean, I remember there was time I was doing a challenge and it was right at the start of COVID. I mean, it was horrendous because the kids had just, like, the school had just announced that the kids weren't going to be there anymore. It's like, right, you're going to be homeschooling for the foreseeable, COVID and all of that. Start of 2020. And it was just, I was just about to do a challenge. And I was like, oh my gosh, the kids are now at home. What am I going to do? I had to push through, but it was rushed and it was messy. And it was, I'm all about fast, messy action. You know this, but it was stressful. It was mega stressful. And I thought to myself back then, I thought, I can't keep doing it in this way. Yes, I still continue doing it because it's what I knew worked. And I probably continued doing it for longer than I should have done because it's one of those things when you know what works in your business, you know there's a better way, but you dare step to that better way because what you're doing works already, even though you're stressed at doing it. And this is what I got stuck in for quite a long time. So I was doing live challenge after live masterclass after live challenge. And I was doing that for a lot longer than I should have been doing. And when I transformed everything to doing like automations, and yes, I'll still have some of that live elements and I'll still hype up some of the things, but I'm not just relying on that. I've got things that work in the background to bring the money in, but I'll do the hypes every now and again to have that cash injection. Oh my gosh, how much easier is that?
Yeah, amazing.
But it was just hard to move away from the something that I knew worked well to getting something that I knew worked so much better. And when I've done this and I just trusted that, you know what, this will be fine. It'll be okay. What's the worst that can happen? No one's going to die. Everything's fine. When I could like get into that mindset about it, that's when everything just works so much better.
Yeah. So good. I love that. And like your brain will always try and magnify the risk of doing something different. And your brain wants you in a fear-based mindset, scarcity mindset, because it doesn't care about your success. It only cares about keeping you safe. So it wants you to carry on doing what you're doing, even if it's causing you to burn out. It doesn't care. Like, it literally doesn't care. All it cares is the fact that you're alive. And so you need to like get this radical self-awareness where you're like, right, okay, I know my brain's doing this. And this is definitely a scarcity mindset. What would feel better? And tune into that. And just trust yourself to take those, maybe scary moves, doing things differently, but from a place of this feels so much better. And so I can create this new normal of success with ease rather than push and hustle. Like there's definitely a better.
It's the true freedom as well, because I think a lot of the time when people talk about things like passive income and freedom and things like that, they mainly talk about like the office that you are building and the office that you are in, and step away from doing one-to-ones because then you can have more time and stuff like that. But it's not just about the offer itself. It's about how you are launching it out into the world, how you're delivering it, how you're bringing people in. Because that can take up so much of your time when you're constantly live launching. I know we touched on this earlier, but that can be so stressful. And I've been stuck in that mode, and I was stuck in that mode for, I want to say, over a year. Yes, my offers were built out. I had a lot of passive income offers. And I also had, I was running ads to like challenges, but the challenges were live and the masterclasses were live and all of that delivery and getting people in, it was live. And it was quite stressful because if there was a time like with COVID, or if my kid was sick and the kid was at home and whatever, and I was relying on that launch to bring in the people, to bring in the money, that was so stressful when something didn't go right.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be that way, does it?
No, it doesn't. Much, much better way. Like often now I'll just like sit and I'll think, oh, I've got like a free afternoon. Oh, there's nothing in my calendar this afternoon. What shall I do? Shall I push through and do a bit of work and do something else? Or shall I just go for a walk on the beach? I'm like, no, I'm just going to go out and go for a walk on the beach. And a lot of the time now I'll find that I'll have a lot of free time, like a lot more free time than, even when the kids are at school. That's when that's when I work. It's roughly between kind of like 9 and 3, take a leave a couple of hours every now and again because it can be flexible. But oftentimes I'll be like, okay, I've got a bit of free time now, and I never work on a Friday. So Fridays I don't work at all. So it's just like, oh, okay, I've got a couple of hours. And it's just having this type of a business model now that allows me to have that where I'm like, wow, I've got some free time. What am I going to do with that free time? I'll go for a walk. Yeah. But I could never, ever do that before, ever.
It's amazing. And it's like you're not in that scarcity mindset where you have to be doing something. You have to be doing something right now to create the results. It's
Yeah.
like you have a whole business like done. You've done the work. And so you don't have to constantly be creating it from you. Like you can
Yeah.
go out and you can enjoy your afternoon
Yeah.
knowing that people can be out there listening to your podcast right now, knowing that people can be watching a replay of a live you've done on Instagram. Like all of
Yeah.
that's there. It's not going
Yeah.
away. So the more you can go and nurture yourself and do your own self-care, put yourself in a good place so your vibration is higher. That's what you're putting out to the universe. Of
Yes.
course, all of those things are happening, but you don't have to be pushing and driving it right now. Go and enjoy the walk on the beach.
Yeah. I think they're pushing
And
it as well. It makes it worse. And I've noticed this from experience as well. When you push, 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 like people can sense the desperation, like people can
absolutely,
sense that kind of an energy rather
yeah,
than like you just been down the beach and you've been all refreshed and be like, how like just the way that you
yeah,
are, because you just feel amazing because you've just had that time at the beach and you just feel like, oh, this is my life. Like I get to
yeah,
live like this. And it's
yeah,
just incredible. Rather
yeah.
than having like, for example, my old business model where I was just push, 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 because I didn't know any different back then. I was scared to change it because what I was doing was working, but it wasn't great, to be honest. I was pushing a lot and it was kind of the scarcity thing, because if this launch doesn't go right, then that's my income for the next 3 months till I launch it again or whatever. There's none of that now. It's just so much better, so much better.
Yeah. We were actually having a conversation before we went live where you were saying you would rather take a little bit less in terms of income and have freedom to enjoy life now rather than working a little bit harder and being a millionaire. Like that is,
Definitely.
and that's really like what I want. The reason I'm bringing this up is to get the listeners to bring their attention to what does success mean for them or for you as you're listening. What does success mean for you? And just reject anything that you're seeing online, other people's version of success, or even what you have been conditioned to believe is success from external messages. Just tune all that out for a second and ask yourself, what does success look like for me at this time in my life?
Yes.
And it's
Definitely.
your life, isn't it? It's your life. What's going on in your life right now? Do you have young kids, for example? Because all of those things matter. And it's about, yes, you want to keep the vision in mind and you're working towards that and you're believing that that's where you're going and all of the things. But the only moment we have is now. So if you're striving and creating a business that is going to create you 6 and 7 figures, but maybe you actually want to do that a little bit slower and enjoy your life while you're creating it, rather than telling yourself a story that I will be happy when. No,
Yeah.
your version of success is what you decide it to be, and you get to be happy whilst you are creating that.
Yeah. It's looking at what type of life you want to have. Like there are many others out there who would say, for example, hire a nanny instead. Like I love to spend every minute I can with my kids, but that's me as a person. That's what my version of success is, being present as a mom, taking the kids to after school clubs, taking them to the beach, taking them wherever, just being present as a mom. So I work when the kids are at school. Like that's it. But other people would prefer to work longer hours to get to, I don't know, like that $1 million, whatever it is in their business so much sooner, but would hire like a nanny or whatever. But that for me, that's not what I want. That's not what success looks like to me. Success for me, and it always has been from even the start of this business, was having more freedom and time to spend with my kids every day, watching my kids grow up. That's why I had kids in the first place, not to take them to childcare, babysitters, or anything like that. They're my kids. I want to watch them grow up. I want to be present. But that might just be me. Other people that I speak to, they're quite happy to hire babysitters, nannies, things like that. And they would rather work in their business from like 10 till 6 every day, whatever. But you have to outline what it looks like for you. And I think that no level of money is going to matter more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we were discussing this earlier. There's a coach that I was working with last year. I'm not going to name any names at all in here, but there was a coach that I was working with last year. And she didn't have kids. And one of the things that she said to like within the group, she would say things like, if you were only to work a few more hours, then you'd easily reach that $1 million a year mark within your business. Why don't you just do that? But for me, my main value is my freedom to spend time with my family. And then even if you are looking outside at what other people are doing and you are looking at other mentors and coaches for help, really reflect back on what matters to you most, because what matters to you most is going to be different to somebody else. Don't get sucked into, honestly, like the trap. It's probably not a trap, but don't get sucked into the vision of other people when that's not your vision. Like, you've got to really focus on what matters to you most. What matters to me most is spending all of this time with my family. We go off traveling every month. We've got our caravan that's down in the Yorkshire Dales. It's down by the river. It's so quiet. It's lovely down there. We absolutely love it. And that is what matters to me. Other people would absolutely hate to have a caravan. And, it's just what matters to you. You've got to tune in with what's right for you and your family, and only you. Like, filter out all of the noise online and really get into what's important for you and build your life around that.
Yeah, I love that so much. And also be aware of what's going on internally with your thoughts and what you think you should be doing. Or, it's the shoulds. Anytime you know should going on, reject that. No, it doesn't matter what other people think, or it doesn't matter. It's about you, what you want, how you want to live, and you make your choices from that place.
Yeah.
And I'd love to go back. Like, my why is my kids. Absolutely. Like, I spent years trying to get them, and I'm building my business to create the life where I can be at all of the sports days and all of the events, so I can walk them to school and pick them up every day. Like, that's what I'm creating. But at the same time, I love balance. And so my girls are in nursery 4 days a week, and they have a day with the grandparents one day. So Monday to Friday, I work on my business every day. And Tom, my husband, and we have the girls just for a few hours every afternoon, and then we put them to bed. But those few hours are golden. Yeah. And for me, I am a better mum because I've created that balance of work and family.
Yes.
I had a lot less childcare when they were much younger, and I really struggled. 2.5 with twins is brutal. Like, it was really, really tough. And at that point, we were in lockdowns, and oh my goodness, it was so, so tough. And the moment I could get a little bit more nursery time and had more balance, I was a better mum. And I know that there's a lot of mums who feel guilty about wanting to work more, or who feel guilty about putting their kid in more childcare when, they could work less or whatever. I'm just not available for the guilt. Like, again, it's like, I'm not telling myself what I should feel or what I should think. No, I'm creating my life my way, and that's okay.
Exactly that. I mean, there's some of my clients who do, like, they do have childcare, they do have nannies and things like that. And that you've got to do what's right for you. Like, just because I don't hire a nanny doesn't mean that anybody should feel guilty. Or the same as like with you, like, if you want to hire childcare, if you want to have a babysitter so that it makes you a better person, this is going right back to, you have to do what's right for you. What's right for you as a parent and what's right for you as a business owner is going to be completely different to what's right for someone else. So filter out all of the noise online. You've just got to, instead of feeling like I should be doing this or I should be doing that, there's always going to be times where you're going to feel like, I should be a better business owner, I should be a better parent, I should be a better whatever that better is. I should be a millionaire by now. According to who? Whose should is that? It's just, you've got to tune in with what's right for you, and just not necessarily look at what everybody else is doing out there. There's some of my clients who are homeschooling because that's what they want to do. That's what feels better for them. They don't want to have their kids in the school system. Like, my kids are in the school system, not that I agree with it all, but I know that that's what's right for us. And again, it's that whole balance.
Yeah,
it's the whole balance,
about alignment, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But it's tuning in with what's right for you. This is the whole point of all of this. What is feeling right for you? Don't just think, oh, I should be doing this, and this, because there's always going to be something where you feel like you should be doing better.
Yeah. Comes down to trusting yourself, doesn't it?
Definitely. Yes.
Amazing. Such good conversation, Camille. Yes. Is there anything left on your heart to say, do you think? Is there any like sort of final bits of wisdom that you would like to share with the audience?
I think I want to share that there's no such thing as behind. And I want to share this because this is something that I've been looking at just recently. And something that came up for me with my coach is that I used to always feel like I was behind. There was coaches and mentors that started their business at the same time as me back in 2019 that are multimillionaires now, and I'm not. And I used to always feel a bit like I was behind. But when I look at, and it's going back to the same conversation again, when I look at things like how many hours people are working and all of this, and I'm building my business in a way that's right for me and my family. So therefore, there's no such thing as behind. A lot of the clients that I work with, some of them will say, I feel like I'm falling behind because I've only got to this level and I've been doing this for so long. And then other clients will race off ahead and they are at this level. And everybody's different. There's no such thing as behind. You are taking the steps. You are taking action every day. There is no such thing as behind. So if anything, I just want to share with people that, you know what, you just keep showing up for yourself, your future, your business. And no matter how fast or slow you take those steps, it will happen for you. Everything will happen. Your path is laid out. Keep taking those steps every day and it will happen.
Yeah, brilliant. I love that so much. Thank you. Where can people find you? And would you like to share anything with the audience?
Yeah, so I've got a new free masterclass right now. So if people are wanting to know how they can step away from the hustle in their business, if they feel like they are just constantly live launching multiple offers all the time and they're thinking, oh my gosh, how on earth do I step away from this? I've got a new masterclass that I've just put out there recently. It's called The 3 Ways to Have a Constant Flow of Leads and Sales every day in your business, even if you've got a small following and it's without being glued to your laptop for more than 7 hours a day. So that you can access that training. I think, are you going to put the link in the show notes below?
Yeah.
This training? Yeah. So you can go access that training there. It's completely free. And also, any questions, come and ask me on Instagram. My handle is @Camille Plews.
Amazing. Nice and simple.
Nice and simple.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for this conversation. It's been great, Camille. So yeah, thank you very much and see you next week. Thank you for listening to the Bigger Than You podcast. If you found it valuable, please forward it to others who you think might benefit from listening, and be sure to subscribe to get the new episodes when they release. And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave a rating or a review, as it really helps the show to grow. You can find me on LinkedIn, Jenna Holloway, or on TikTok and Instagram, and my handle is @IamJennaHolloway. And you can find links to whatever we cover in the show notes. Thank you for listening and see you next time.